This Blue People exercise is one that's done in Illustrator, so I'll just jump to Illustrator. You'll be able to download this AI folder off the Trello board, and I'm going to put this video up there as well. Okay, so it's a good exercise to get going when you're struggling or you can't think where to go with putting an illustration together. All of this stuff, if we have a look down the side here, it's got all these shapes. If I go Command Y or Control Y on a PC, it goes to keyline mode, a kind of precise mode, and you can see exactly the shapes and what's a line and all that sort of stuff. And so it says here, hold down the Alt key and drag. So usually you'll click on it. As soon as I hold down Alt, changes to a little double arrow. I can drag it across. If I let go of the mouse first and then the key, it duplicates it. Nice and easy. You've got all your tools down here. All of these have a quick key as well, which I might just put in. So if I put V in, that's the quick key for this arrow. The direct selection tool, which is an important one, is A. Pen tool, just to get to the basic pen tool, is going to be P. Shift C, it's got there. That's a good one with changing the things. This has got it here. Shift M is the key command. These ones up here, you're just literally hitting the letter. You don't have to hold down Shift or anything like that. Pathfinder menu, right clicking, send things to the back and the front. I'll talk about that. The transform tool, and then we have all our kind of patterns and stuff that we can pick here. So what I'll put at the end of this is I, which is the quick key that gets you to the eyedropper. Let's put that in. And the eyedropper tool will let you select lines, fills, even the typeface if you click on typeface. So we've got a couple of pages, this one to play around with, and when you start to fine tune something, you can chuck it on the next page. So let's have a go. So with this, if I grab any tool, and in this case I'm just going to grab a rectangular box. One of the things that I like to use is if I go A or to the direct selection tool, you can see these little round items in the corners. If I drag them, it's going to change the curve. That's because only one was highlighted. If I highlight the whole thing and I've got all four, when I drag, it's going to make like a lozenge. V, it's going to take it back to the black arrow tool, and I'm going to play around with this a little bit. So I'm going to Option, drag this, Option, drag another one. Can make that a bit wider. Option, drag another one out here. Another one, and I'll do another one here. This one I want to be a little bit more precise with. So I go Control Y, so I can see it. I can see all those kind of purple lines popping up, and that is because under View I have Smart Guides on. So this will help with lining up and all sorts of things. Okay, so using, before I go to the shape builder tool, sometimes if you double click too much, you'll get this blue line and it's kind of going inside the group. So I can click those arrows or just double click on the background to get out of that mode. This thing here, I'm just going to go A, push that back to a corner and grab just one of these corners, and I'm going to round off just that one edge like that. Now with this, we know about using the shape builder tool. So Shift M brings up that shape builder tool. But sometimes it's good to leave lines, and I'll show you what I mean. So if I join these shapes together, I'll join this, but I kind of want this long line to stay there. So I'll kind of steer clear of that one. So I've got that. That's all good. I'll join this, these ones, but this one here, join that, join that. This one I'll just kind of click it. I'm going to leave that line there for a second. This I want to take it out, so I hold down the Alt key and subtract that shape out. Now if I go to the direct selection tool, and this is what's interesting with this tool, is that if I click on a specific point or a line, that's all it will take out. So if I click here, it's going to take out the line between those points. If I just click once, I kind of have to do it a couple of times because this is two shapes over top of one another. So this, I'm going to just select around that area there, delete, and it's taken it out to there. This line, delete, it's taken them both out. And so I end up with this line staying through there. I can push it back a bit, go Command Y, and I've got my shape. Now using these things at the bottom of the page, I can select all of this. I can click on this one, which I think is a fill of none and a line of blue. So let's get it again, but I have to use the eye. So I go eye for the eyedropper. I've got it selected, click, and now I get exactly what I want. Now the important thing, and I'm gonna, under Windows there's two work modes that I use. If you use Essentials Classic, it brings everything up along the top. If I use Essentials, it kind of comes up with, instead of coming up the top here, and usually it comes up, the thing that I want to use is this thing called properties. Really really useful. It's the equivalent of using those items along the top. I think even when you're in classic mode you can kind of bring it up as well, but when I scroll down it will give me all these things about pathfinder, stroke, all that sort of stuff. So although I've done that and I've got it here, I can still go into the stroke and beef it up. Now I can do lots of copying and pasting stuff. So again, if I go Command Y, I can grab this. I'll go Option. Look like I might have had an extra couple of lines here. I could see it was a little bit thicker. So again, what I'll do is I'll get rid of everything except for a curve. So if I get rid of that line and this one on this side, I end up with this curve, and I might get rid of some of this stuff. I'm going to keep a little straight line as well. So if I get rid of this, that looks pretty good. And now what I can do is I can start to add a few little bits in. I can make it a bit shorter, and I can pop it up in this space. So I suppose what I'm making is I'm kind of making like a smoky cloud sort of thing. See how this one looks a little bit thinner? If I go eye, click on this line, it'll make it the same thing, a fill of none and a line of a certain thickness. So I can option, move some of these around. I can lengthen them if I want, but I'm just going to kind of keep them the same. This one, if I grab it here, and if I go into the keyline mode again, Control Y, then I can option copy that, or Alt copy that, spin it around, use the hold the Shift key down, and it will keep it to 45 degrees in horizontal and vertical. You can see I can join these together. I can see the smart guide come up telling me it's all good. Maybe it wasn't quite as good as what I thought. There we go, that looks a bit better. And so I can have all these little markings and stuff to make it look like some kind of funny looking cloud. I don't want the line at the bottom. So again, I know with the A, hitting A, I get the direct selection tool and I can click and it will take out just that line. The next bit, if I highlight all of this, I can click on the word stroke, and in here you can see this is all kind of squared off. I'm going to put it on round, so it's going to soften those edges. Of course I could leave some if I wanted some square. I could grab just that end and square it off. It looks like it's connected to this one, so it's going to do that one as well, but I can break those apart. You can still kind of add on with the shift builder and all sorts of things, but let's add on another little bit as we make this character. So you're really using the stroke and the fill. This thing, it's endless what you can do. So if I bring the circle over and shift, drag that square out to make it a bit bigger. I'll go A to get my direct selection tool. That way I can click. So I've got just this one point. Shift, drag it up the top. Now Shift C gives us that corner point. So this is written over here. And I can just drag those handles down. If I do it now, it'll change it. So if I hold down Control, I get the white arrow again. Let go, and then I can drag that. Command or hitting the A key back to the white arrow or direct selection tool, and I'm just tidying this up because it looks a little bit flat. The curve doesn't look quite so good. Command Y. I know V. I can click on my object. I also know the Option copy. So if I hold down Option or Alt on a PC and Shift, it's going to copy but keep the proportions. So this is just making it a little bit smaller. So now that I'm in the keyline mode, if I click on this, under Object, you'll find a whole lot of path tools that you can play with here. The main one I'm going to use is there's this one called offset path, and so it will give me this path but in the same sort of way. So if I go -11, switch the preview on and off, I can see what it gives me. I'll make it a little bit more. I'll make it -18. Preview, that's good. I'll go OK. Now I know that if I get the A tool or direct selection, whatever I go over here, it'll get rid of those lines. Now if I click here, if I delete it, it'll delete it all the way back to that point. I can get the pen tool and add in points and minus it, but we know how to use the shape builder tool. So whether you get something from there or whether you again take one of your shapes, I'm just taking a rectangle. So I want this curve to get cut off about there. As long as I select just that and the curve, the things I want to affect, then it won't be a problem. So I will get Shift M for shape builder. I'll go Alt, chop off what I don't want, and then I know for that top line I can just go A, click on that top line, delete it, and I'm just going to highlight it now. Command Y, and in this case I'm going to go down here. I don't know if I've got an option here or not, but I'll go, I want it to be a fill of none, and I want the stroke to be white, and I want the stroke to be a bit thicker, and if I click on the word, I'm going to round it off a wee bit. I'll give some little wings. So I'm going to grab that hand, drag it up, rotate it. Now if you right click, you get options that pop up here that go to the front, go to the back and everything. I'm going to go transform, and I'll go reflect. Do a copy, so it keeps that original one, and now I can just move it across, and it looks like little wings. I can get all of this stuff, and I can use the Pathfinder tool. So if I come here, I've got Union, joins it all together. If I go Command Y, I can see that. Otherwise, I could just use the Shape Builder tool. While it's highlighted, I can get some of these patterns, see if there's anything that I like in there. I might go for this dotty one. I can still do things like come in here to the stroke, thicken it up if I want. Might mean now that I have to go to this one and pick that blue. It filled it, so I'll just swap it around with the little arrow keys here, and again I'll have to bump up the thickness of it. Now that right click in, and I'll just move the page up a little bit so hopefully we can see the menu. If I click on this, and so if I control click or right click, I'll end up with transform. It's gone off the page a little bit, but there's an option further down here that says transform each, and this is a good one because if I switch off, and I've got it written down here somewhere, if I switch off transform objects, this is how you make a pattern bigger. can come in here. You can see it getting bigger. It's also scaling the strokes. So if I switch that off, the stroke will stay the same and it will just enlarge that pattern. You can only go to a certain point, but you can see the difference already. Go OK, and I'll have a look and see if I can build it up again. No, it's right at the top. So the only way I could get this pattern even bigger is if I double click on the pattern and go back to the original. So what I want is, I know that my patterns will be in the swatches. So if I go to the window and bring up the swatches, I click on it, pattern, it's going to be this pattern in here. I need to go to large thumbnail view. I couldn't see what was what. Okay, so there it is there. So if I double click, it brings me into this pattern. Now I can click on this and I can go Option Shift, which is going to scale it from the center. It's cutting off a wee bit, so I just have to shuffle it around until it looks okay. You've got options here where you can change the grid and everything, so I can change it there if I want. Double click and it would have changed that pattern. Now if I click on it, transform each, I can make it even bigger again because it goes back to 100% of the size, or make it smaller. Well, it was a wee bit too small. There we go. So you can link them so that whatever you change works for both, but I'll put in 20, tab 20, takes it back down to a small dot size. Make sure you always keep the objects off. Okay, so it's endless. So I'll grab this with the Option key, drag it, I, so that gives me a fill of white. Oh, and this gives me the blue line. So let's thicken up that stroke a little bit. Put it over our character here. And actually, if I want now, click on the fill. I will make it white. And I'll grab this eyeball. Option, pop that in the middle. And so on and on. So we can build up characters kind of using this technique. Don't know if I'm so keen on that pattern. I'll change it back to a solid color. And maybe I'll bring his mouth back up. Yeah, okay, I like that. But more, I'll just make this a little bit smaller and round off the edges of it. So this is the process. This page just for playing around, and then when you've got something that you enjoy or you're liking, then you can just option, after you select it, grab it, bring it across onto here. Okay, so play with this and see what you can develop out of it using these symbols. But with all of these, with the base and being able to manipulate it with the tools, it's endless. You can create whatever you want.